I've just gotten drafted, fresh off the plane, the Sonics are in the playoffs, and they take me to like what is like my first media day essentially, and they're preparing me for it, and I'm kind of like, okay, cool, like I've just come from the Final Four, you know what I mean, and UConn, and I walk in, and I'm like, well, was everybody here yet? Because there's not that many people,
Right.
and so that's the culture shock you're talking about. And then of course, college, you're flying charter, everything is like, you're staying at the Ritz's or whatever it is, and interestingly enough, we didn't charter. Obviously, the WNBA did it. But my rookie year, we were actually still owned 100% by the NBA.
Sue Bird made her debut with the Seattle Storm in 2002, instantly proving to be a force of nature. She played with the finesse of a seasoned veteran, orchestrating plays with precision and leaving defenders bewildered. That rookie season set the foundation for her legendary career.
Thought about pulling up from three, will tip inside and lay it in.
Sue Bird has unveiled a shocking secret tied to a plan targeting Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, and it's far more surprising than you'd imagine. What role does a Hall of Famer like Sue Bird play in this hidden agenda? How is it connected to the challenges Caitlin Clark faces in the league? Let's delve into the details.
Best point guard in this league's history says goodbye.
Fast forward to today, and Caitlin Clark is carving out her legacy. She's lighting up scoreboards with ease, sinking three-pointers from the logo, and racking up triple-doubles as if it's second nature. But Sue Bird? She's been surprisingly quiet, almost too quiet. It feels like she's subtly taking aim at Caitlin without ever directly mentioning her.
And she makes one of two. Somebody with the hands for the Huskies. Big time.
Sue Bird was the Caitlin Clark of her era, a superstar who didn't just play the game but commanded it. Every pass was a masterpiece, threading through defenders with jaw-dropping accuracy. She wasn't merely a part of the offense. She was its engine. Her basketball IQ was unparalleled, immeasurable even. Watching Sue on the court felt like witnessing a chess grandmaster at work, always several steps ahead. The moment she stepped onto the court, the Seattle Storm transformed from an average team into a championship contender.
I think everybody was being cool, leaving her alone.
Sue once remarked about building team chemistry after a successful season, saying, "It was a great season. We brought in so much talent during free agency." Sometimes it takes time for teams to build that chemistry.
It was a great season.
Yes, it was.
We had a tremendous year in free agency, brought in so many talented players. So I think it's more about building on that. Sometimes those types of teams, it can take a second to build that chemistry.
Caitlin Clark's rookie season has been phenomenal, drawing NBA-level ratings. Yet, the spotlight seems to miss her, focusing more on Angel Reese's injury than Caitlin's Rookie of the Year triumph. Why does it feel like Sue Bird isn't a fan of Caitlin Clark? The tension goes beyond basketball. It's deeper. Caitlin Clark embodies values that Sue Bird seems to challenge, making their dynamic all the more intriguing.
With effect, Bentley inside again.
Caitlin's faith plays a subtle but significant role in her identity. She's proud of her Catholic beliefs, though she doesn't flaunt them. In a league that leans heavily towards social activism, a devout Catholic presence doesn't always attract applause. In a space that celebrates diversity and inclusion, Caitlin, a straight, Catholic, white woman, doesn't align with the league's broader narrative.
6 on the shot clock. Clark at
Caitlin Clark feels like an outsider in a league that often resembles an exclusive club. The WNBA isn't just about basketball. It's a movement, a culture, and a platform where certain ideals and narratives are prioritized. Players aren't just athletes. They're activists and ambassadors for change. Sue Bird, a founding member of this cultural shift, has been a vocal advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, gender equality, and social justice.
I've just gotten drafted, fresh off the plane, the Sonics are in the playoffs, and they take me to like what is like my first media day essentially, and they're preparing me for it, and I'm kind of like, okay, cool, like I've just come from the Final Four, you know what I mean, and UConn, and I walk in, and I'm like, well, is everybody here yet? You know, because there's not that many people.
Right.
And so that's the culture shock you're talking about. And then, of course, you know, college, you're flying charter. Everything is like, you know, you're staying at the Ritz's or whatever it is. And interestingly enough, we didn't charter, obviously. The WNBA did it. But my rookie year, we were actually still owned 100% by the NBA.
Mm.
So we hadn't gone to individual ownership models yet.
Right.
So I did have like 1 year, maybe 2, I can't remember exactly, where we still were getting some NBA treatment. So we didn't fly charter, but the hotels we stayed in were all super nice. You know, we had a practice facility because we were with the Sonics, which was kind of standard at that time. A lot of the WNBA teams would use their NBA affiliate practice facility. But yeah, so we had some bells and whistles, but then I think the media coverage is probably the best story to tell that showcased like where it was compared to college. But very quickly I started playing overseas. And I actually just say this as like a matter of fact. We were all making so much money overseas that in a sense, I don't want to say we didn't care because we cared. But because we're making so much money over there, when CBA negotiations come up, we were like, okay, whatever, just get it done.
We want to keep
weren't
playing.
in the weeds.
Right. We want to keep playing, and the money's fine, not here, but over there. So let's just do it.
And so when you say making a lot of money, give me a range of.
For me personally,
Yeah, or the league, high, low.
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's so individual. So I would say early on, I mean, always well over 6 figures. And early on, like my first couple years, we're talking like, I'm really going back, like in the like $300,000 to $600,000 range. But that's all like, it depends how many months you play.
Mm-hmm.
So usually you're
That's
talking,
what you're making in Russia.
yeah,
Yeah.
in my first couple of years.
Yeah.
But I only went for like 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So like bang for your buck. So that by the end of
Right.
my time, now we're up in like the $1 million range.
Wow.
So I would say like that was started probably like, let's call it like 300,000, and then by the end I was.
For years, Sue Bird has been the face of the WNBA's mission, embodying its values both on and off the court. Her influence stretches from locker rooms to boardrooms. When Sue speaks, the league listens. Caitlin Clark, however, doesn't fit neatly into this framework. Her focus is purely on basketball, playing, winning, and dominating without a political or social agenda. Caitlin's unapologetic talent challenges the league's narrative, setting her apart in a space where activism and identity often take center stage.
And just being able to get out of the way, get the defense back into the paint.
Caitlin Clark is celebrated purely for her game, not for aligning with any specific cause. This freedom stands in stark contrast to the WNBA's culture, where a player's brand often intertwines with the league's collective goals. For Sue Bird, who has spent her career upholding and defending the WNBA's ethos, Caitlin represents a wild card, an undeniable talent too big to ignore but too unconventional to fully embrace. In a league that often feels like a close-knit family, few things are as disruptive as an outsider who refuses to conform.
We've signed massive media deals, so the money is around the corner. So that's really exciting. For a long time, a lot of us had to play overseas, but really recently, we've been able to make money off the court, and that's actually what was so, from a player standpoint, so confusing. I was like, wait, I'm only getting paid, you know, in some of my later years after the new CBA was signed, I did get to make in the $250,000 range, which was wonderful, but for a large portion of my career, I was stuck at like 100, 110. I pretty much lost money playing in the WNBA, if I'm being honest. Like if you look at like inflation and stuff. So it was really confusing because I was getting offered crazy deals off the court from a marketing standpoint, representing brands, maybe going to do a speaking engagement. And that's really, for me, that disconnect.
It's not just about what you say, Sue. It's about what you don't. You'll analyze Angel Reese's stats, highlight Sabrina Ionescu's latest Nike deal, and even shout out rising stars in college basketball. But Caitlin Clark? Crickets. Not a word, not a mention, not even as a side note. It's as if she's Voldemort, the name that must not be spoken. You'll dissect Angel Reese's rebounding like it holds the secret to perfect basketball, while Caitlin is out here dropping 40-point games and making the WNBA look like it missed a major opportunity. Ignoring her doesn't erase her impact, it only highlights the bias. Sue, you don't have to like Caitlin, but pretending she doesn't exist? That's ice cold, even by WNBA standards.
I've known about this for a while, and I've been pretty excited about it for a while, and honestly, it's kind of been in conversation before I even decided if I was going to go back to college for another year, so I didn't know if I would ever even be able to make this event this year, so I'm...
Rumors are swirling that some powerful figures in the WNBA are working to downplay Caitlin Clark's success, especially overseas. Whether it's a PR effort to spotlight other players or an attempt to craft narratives that diminish her impact, it reeks of insecurity. And let's be real, Sue, you've got a lot to lose.
Do you want to play mermaid? Yeah. Okay, you go. Can you? I'm not. Can we get on mermaid? Yeah. You play mermaid?
Caitlin Clark is everything you once were. Sue, a rookie phenom, a game changer, and a player who could single-handedly reshape the league. But Caitlin doesn't need the WNBA to do it. She can shine anywhere from Europe, where the paychecks are bigger, to arenas where her influence could raise an entire league's profile. If she's making waves just by casually socializing at a golf course, imagine the ripple effect when she's fully unleashed.
Nor had her teammates, and you see the utter delight as they met the WNBA legend.
Caitlin Clark's fan base is everywhere, and now the WNBA is left wondering how it let her slip away. Sue Bird isn't just a basketball legend. She's a gatekeeper, one of the most influential figures in women's basketball. Over her illustrious career, she hasn't just built a Hall of Fame resume, she's helped shape the very essence of the WNBA. Sue belongs to the old guard, an elite circle of players whose endorsements can make or break careers. Being part of that circle isn't just about opening doors, it's about controlling who gets through them. Sue has always had a clear vision for the league, inclusive, activist-driven, and deeply rooted in social justice causes. She's used her platform to champion LGBTQ+ rights, racial justice, and gender equality, making her a symbol of everything the WNBA stands for.
6 on the shot clock. Clark.
Caitlin Clark's rise challenges the WNBA's established culture. Unlike players like Sue Bird, who built their legacies as vocal activists, Caitlin's focus is singular: basketball. She's about scoring, winning, and dominating on the court. Her success generates excitement, but doesn't align with the league's activist-driven narrative. For someone like Sue, who helped shape the WNBA's identity, Caitlin's approach feels unsettling. It signals a shift in what it means to be a WNBA star.